Hey everyone, it's Michael and welcome back to Boxmining. It's been an action-packed weekend, and a lot of this action and drama centered around Canadian exchange QuadrigaCX. So this exchange has declared that they lost $137 million of funds, but there are people who are suspicious that these lost funds are not lost but stolen. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at what's really happening behind there and also catch up on the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's get right into it. News of the Canadian exchange QuadrigaCX losing $137 million worth of cryptocurrencies broke out on February the 3rd. So the story goes as this. Their CEO, Gary Cotton, was the only one with access to their cold storage wallets. And unfortunately, he passed away in India. And this meant that he took the encryption passwords, the passwords that are required to decrypt these keys, with him to the grave. That means that the exchange no longer has access to their cryptocurrency and is no longer solvent. And added to that, there were also issues with bank accounts. So Canadian banks were also locking up their funds. That meant that they can't refund fiat and they can't refund crypto. So it's right now what the news is that there are no withdrawals available for the exchange. And guys, if you guys are Canadian or you guys are using this exchange, do shoot me a comment down below if you guys are suffering from this issue, because it's pretty darn huge that people just can't withdraw from an exchange one day. It's basically like the Canadian Coinbase. And then, okay, so this story starts getting weird when you consider the facts of the situation. Because normally, a lot of exchanges, even when they store cryptocurrencies, they usually have a special protocol set up if an event like this happens. You don't just store away $37 million worth of crypto and give it to only one person. So there is right now, the drama revolves around, are these cryptocurrencies lost, or is this a big epic scam? Now, in terms of all the drama and evidence has been gathering over the weekend, and it comes from a few sources. The most damning probably is the Litecoin addresses. So what's happening is that users are now chasing down where the cold store wallets are, like what the exact addresses are, and it turns out that one of these addresses has Litecoin moved. So that shouldn't be possible if they lost complete access to the keys. If the exchange, if this story is credible and true, then they can't move this Litecoin. But it turns out to be the case that some Litecoin has moved. And now a lot of CEOs, including the Kraken CEO, has come out to try to trace down what are the exact wallets that this exchange are holding or belongs to the exchange, and they want to monitor it. Because if any of these funds move, this is very likely to be an exit scam. So how can this be an exit scam? What exactly happened to the CEO? So on what they claim in the report filed and the sworn affidavit was that Mr. Cotton passed away in India. But the problem with this is that there were some holes in the story, because some people went up to call that funeral home, and the funeral home's database did not include a record of Cotton's death. It is possible that he went to India and bought a death certificate to claim and fake his own death. So right now, we're all tracing this. I mean, it's a bit insensitive into going into someone who could potentially be dead, but at the same time, losing $149 million of other people's funds leads to the question, is this an exit scam? Was the exchange doing poorly beforehand? Did he make all these moves, like, for example, getting married a month before he passed away, or writing a will 2 weeks before he passed away? Were these all preparation moves for a big exit? So this is being currently updated. I'll definitely take a look at these addresses, but this seems to be the biggest damning evidence against that. Honestly, this is a stark reminder to not leave crypto in exchanges. No matter how reputable the exchange, if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. Next up, I saw this article, which is that Bitcoin is now entering its longest bear market ever. So people have been tracking how long bear markets have been lasting in crypto, and how, there's always these talks about how many times Bitcoin has died. But now, because of how long it's been 411 days as of February the 2nd since its all-time high of Bitcoin. Personally, I actually find that on paper, it probably looks like the longest bear market ever, but we have to remember that this whole space has now grown a lot bigger to just be Bitcoin. In fact, if you look at the whole ICO space, it was kind of blossoming and blooming until May, June. So the time scale is a little bit skewed off. It depends on when you measure and how you measure this bear market. Next up, this is interesting. Security regulators are soliciting blockchain analytics companies for data review. So what does that mean? It's a long sentence, but essentially means that there are companies out there like Chain Analysis, and what they do is they track these clusters of Bitcoin and Ethereum transfers. The interesting part about this is that because of the fact that Bitcoin transactions are all on a public ledger, everyone can see them. So it's kind of interesting that the US security regulators are looking at this in so much detail. This means that also there's a big need for privacy coins now, because you technically don't want that much data being sent everywhere all around. Lastly, this month, we're going to do something very special tomorrow. Tomorrow is Chinese New Year. So what that usually entails is that during Chinese New Year, we usually give out these red packets. And I've been working on something quite special, so make sure you do watch the next video. And also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do click that little subscribe button and like this video if you like these daily updates. In addition to this, it's really, I did a lot of tech reviews this week. So I took a look at this ledger. This is the Ledger Nano X. So I'm building up the video towards that. I also have this. This is the Siren Labs phone. It includes its own hardware wallet. So these two videos are being worked on right now, and they'll be coming up this week. So if you guys have any questions for the Ledger Nano X or the Siren Fini, do leave a comment in the comment section below, and I like to try to answer as many questions about these devices as possible. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching the video. See you in the next one.